That night, Sonjin headed straight to the art studio after work. He went to Minsu's office but found her desk empty. Deciding to check Woobin's office, he found him painting and asked where Minsu was. Woobin looked at him and jokingly pointed out that he hadn't even greeted him. Already used to his friend's playful nature, Sonjin told him he was being serious. Woobin, still focused on his painting, mentioned that the last time he saw Minsu, she was in her office. Sonjin stood there for a moment and noted that he wouldn't be in Woobin's office if she were still there. As he spoke, he noticed Woobin's bruised knuckles and, concerned, asked if he had gotten into a fight again. Woobin admitted that he had. Disappointed, Sonjin expressed that he thought Woobin was done with fighting and was focusing on his future. Before he could continue, Woobin looked at him and revealed that he had gotten hurt while protecting Minsu. Shocked and worried, Sonjin immediately asked if Minsu was okay and what had happened. Instead of answering directly, Woobin told him that he should start by feeding his girlfriend, mentioning that she had been eating only donuts for lunch every day to save money while Sonjin enjoyed a buffet at his place. Hearing this, Sonjin was not pleased and noted that Minsu had never mentioned anything to him. Annoyed, Woobin stood up and faced him, explaining that women often don't ask for money or food, and these were simple things Sonjin should have known. Sonjin looked at Woobin and pointed out that Minsu was his woman, and that he seemed overly concerned about her. Woobin reminded him that he had asked him to look after her and was simply doing his job. He then added that a man had been harassing Minsu earlier, which was why he had fought. Worried, Sonjin immediately ran out to find Minsu. Returning to her office, he finally found her. He walked over, took her hands, and asked if she was okay. She nodded, assuring him she was fine. Looking into her eyes, he asked again, searching for any signs of injury. That was when he noticed a bruise on her wrist. Alarmed, he asked what had happened. Minsu explained that a man had gripped her wrist earlier and refused to let go. Sonjin's face turned red with anger. He told her to sit down and quickly left the room, returning moments later with a first aid kit. Sitting next to her, he gently took her hand and applied ointment to her wrist. As he did so, he apologized for not being there to protect her. He admitted that he constantly worried about her, whether she was okay, whether anyone was mistreating her, and that it haunted him, knowing he couldn't always be with her. However, he reassured her that he was working hard to change that. Minsu watched him as he tended to her injury. She loved him deeply, and despite the circumstances, was happy to be with him. Holding her hand, Sonjin asked if the bruise was painful. Minsu admitted that it hurt a little. He leaned in and softly kissed the bruised area before looking at her again and asking if it felt better. Blushing at his sweet gesture, she remained silent. He then pulled her into his arms, reached into his pocket, and handed her a black card. Minsu hesitated before asking what it was for. Sonjin explained that it was his extra bank card, and she could use it for whatever she needed. She hesitated to accept it, not wanting to seem like a burden or as if she was taking advantage of him. Realizing her concerns, Sonjin reassured her that it was from his heart, and she could return it once she received her salary. Eventually, she took the card and thanked him. They sat in comfortable silence, enjoying each other's presence. After a while, Minsu looked at him and asked for a favor. Without hesitation, Sonjin told her he would do anything for her. She then asked him to meet with Kim and talk to her. Surprised by the request, Sonjin questioned why she would ask such a thing, especially after what Kim had done to her. Minsu explained that she had recently seen Kim and realized she was not okay. She had come to understand that Kim had liked Sonjin more than she had initially realized. Minsu believed that if he met with Kim and talked to her, he might be able to convince her to move on and remind her of her worth. She added that Kim saw Sonjin as a role model and might listen to him. Although reluctant, Sonjin ultimately agreed for Minsu's sake. However, he warned her to stay away from Kim, emphasizing that people like her would go to great lengths to get what they wanted and that there was no saving them. Minsu agreed, smiling as she buried herself in his arms, feeling hopeful that there was still a chance to help Kim. The next day, Sonjin decided to contact Kim. He called her and suggested they meet up. Kim, sounding excited, quickly agreed. They arranged to meet at a restaurant where Sonjin waited for her. When she arrived, she was dressed up and appeared cheerful. She greeted him and took a seat.